Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Zimbabwe is a failed state. That is the starting point. Why? Because for the last 45 years, the nation has been stuck with a corrupt, incompetent, and tyrannical Zanu PF dictatorship. 45 years is a long time. One would ask, why is it that you've allowed Zanu PF to continue to rig elections for 45 years and counting? Well, the truth of the matter is the nation did make a conscientious decision in the late 1990s that if they're going to end this Zanu PF dictatorship, they must elect an opposition whose primary purpose will be to implement the democratic reforms to stop Zanu PF rigging elections. And along came Morgan Tsvangirai and his FDC friends. They promised the people that they would deliver the democratic changes the nation was dying for, and hence called their party the Movement for Democratic Change. And yet we know in 2023 that Mnangagwa and his Zanu PF colleagues blatantly rigged those elections. So the question one has got to ask again is, why? Why is it that the MDC, CCC failed to implement even one token reform to stop Zanu PF rigging the elections? Well, one of the reasons why, the obvious one, is the MDC, CCC leaders have turned out to be breathtakingly incompetent, corrupt, and utterly useless. The nation made the mistake of electing such useless leaders. But to compound our problem, for the last 25 years, many of the ordinary people out there would not admit that the opposition are corrupt and incompetent. So this recent story that has been gripping the nation of the inquiry into the operations of the Harare City Council, which has since uncovered unbelievable corruption among the opposition leadership. Here is a test of the existing mayor of Harare, who is or was a CCC leader, being taken to task on that very issue of corruption.
You did not answer my question properly. Which one? Okay, I will put it. Did you tell the truth that when you informed this committee that you incited house number 10, coronation? No. You lied. Yes. Sorry? Yes. So you are a liar. Yes or no? In that instance, why did you lie? You did not answer my question properly. Which one?
The story is based on the mayor there telling the inquiry that he lived on number 110 Coronation Road in Greendale. And when they went there to inspect it, they found that he was lying. And it turned out that he has been developing buying stands, developing, changing the ownership, the use of properties and so forth for his own financial benefit. And making hundreds of thousands of dollars for himself. I think at the end of the inquiry, people will know how much he made for himself. But what matters here is the important thing here is the acceptance that the opposition leaders are corrupt and incompetent. In this case, liars too. This is a quantum leap because for the last 25 years, if you wanted to end the wrath of the opposition supporters and apologists, you only had to question the leaders' decisions. And even if you've got the evidence that they are corrupt, incompetent, and liars, the supporters and the apologists will be all over you like a rush. This has not helped the country advance. This has only allowed the corrupt and incompetent and lying individuals to remain in a position of leadership and hence fail to implement, like I said at the beginning, democratic reforms which would have stopped Zanu PF rigging elections. One of the most annoying things is how some people have refused to accept that Chamisa is a liar. Here is Chamisa before the 2023 elections, making one of his outrageous claims.
Makorokoto Zimbabwe nokuti hakuna munhu anomira kana denga raronga plan. Denga raronga plan, denga harifoiri. Plan yaMwari haifoiri. Ini ndatanga kugadzira cabinet. There is no way we are not going to form a new cabinet. There is no way we are not going to have a celebration. There is no way we are not going to have an inauguration. Let's start preparing for our inauguration. Let's start preparing for our celebration.
The truth was that he was lying. He conned his followers to participate in the 2023 elections, knowing fully well that the process was flawed, and knowing fully well that by participating, they will give Zanu PF legitimacy. Even now, with the benefit of hindsight, the elections are over. We know they were rigged. To get some of the supporters and apologists, including Change Radio, whose name appears at the bottom of that video clip, to get them to accept that Chamisa lied has been near impossible. Why can't we accept that he lied? The evidence is there. Are you denying the evidence? The main problem with that is that people like Chamisa have exploited that weakness. Because when he lied in 2023 that he had plugged the vote-rigging loopholes, this was not the first time he did it. In 2018, he made a similar lie. He assured the nation that MDC alliance had stringent measures to stop Zanu PF rigging the elections. People believed him. They participated in that election and gave the vote rigging Zanu PF legitimacy. 5 years later, he's back lying again. Here is one occasion where the BBC took Chamisa to task on that very issue of lying.
Ende patakasangana na Trump akatibvunza naye vakomana mari yamuri kuda kuti nyika ifambe imari.
Serious questions were raised about your behaviour in Washington, D.C. You did see some senior people on Capitol Hill, some Congress people, but you also claimed that you'd seen Donald Trump. You claimed you had a conversation with him in which you said he asked you how much you needed to move the country forward. You told him $15 billion, and he said to you that he would provide the money if you won the election. That was not true, was it?
Sangana na Trump akatibvunza naye vakomana.
It was not true that you'd seen Donald Trump and that Donald Trump indicated to you that he would provide, if you won the election, $15 billion.
All those statements were said by other people, not what I said.
Well, no, because there is a video which shows you at a rally in January back home in Zimbabwe saying that Donald Trump had pretty much promised you $15 billion. To be clear, because some people in Zimbabwe are still confused, you're now telling me you did not meet Donald Trump.
We did not.
Most significantly, that what he said at that rally, he was lying. I think as a people, we need to accept the reality that leaders are mere mortals. They are fallible like everybody else. And hence the importance of this concept of that the people must hold the leaders to account. We have shied away from that. We have placed our leaders on pedestals, making them demigods, untouchable. That was a serious mistake. And after 45 years of rigged elections, with the country up to its eyeballs in economic and political trouble, we need to grow up. We need to accept that leaders are corrupt, be they in Zanu PF or in the opposition. And when they fail, they must be held to account. Some people have asked, why are you picking on the opposition? I'm picking on the opposition because at the present moment, the nation's position is we can end the Zanu PF dictatorship by electing competent opposition leaders who implement the democratic reforms necessary to stop Zanu PF rigging the elections. That is the position. And when you look at MDC CCC leaders and their performance these last 25 years, you cannot deny that they have failed to carry out that task. So why are we keeping on electing them, following them blindly? Zimbabwe has a chance of stopping this madness of rigged elections and bad governance in 2028 on condition that people are not conned again into participating in flawed elections on the basis of an idiotic lie that the opposition can win rigged elections. The truth of the matter is it will be a single day's work for Chamisa to mobilize his followers to participate in another flawed election come 2028. As long as the CCC followers participate in their millions as they did in 2023, trust me, Zanu PF will get political legitimacy. So I hope that what is unfolding in Harare, the exposure of some of the CCC leaders as corrupt, incompetent, will finally force Zimbabweans to open their eyes and accept the reality that leaders are corrupt and we should hold them to account. That is unavoidable. The ancient Greeks were right that for democracy, as the government of the people, for the people, by the people, to work, the people themselves must be educated, knowledgeable, objective, and diligent in holding those in positions of power and authority to account. We need to grow up after 45 years of rigged elections, 25 of which was with the connivance of the opposition and our own naivety as the people. We really need to sit up and take note. I sincerely hope that the admissions of people like Mayor Mafumi and the exposure that he is indeed corrupt is going to force Zimbabweans out there for the first time to accept that opposition leaders are human, they're fallible. And where they fail, we must hold them to account and stop this foolishness of placing leaders, opposition leaders, on pedestals, making them demigods, whom no one even dares to hold them to account. I seriously hope 2028 will be the turning point in Zimbabwe's history, when the people of Zimbabwe have come to age and finally doing the right thing. Holding opposition leaders who are corrupt, incompetent, and liars to account is the right thing. If they are corrupt and incompetent and liars, that is a historic fact that you must accept and act accordingly. What is the point of following such a leader, after following them for the last 25 years, and yet they cannot even have one token reform to show what they've been doing. It is insane. And we, as a nation, need to wake up to that reality. Thank you very much, and have a good night.